Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the GSL-English Podcast, a podcast designed to help you immerse yourself in the English language in a relaxed and natural way. My name is Gideon, and in this week's episode, we have another very special guest joining us. It was my absolute pleasure to have a chat with Katharine from English with Katharine. Now, I'm pretty sure that many of you will already be familiar with Katharine from her very successful YouTube channel. And she always manages to present the English language in such a positive way. And that really does come across in our conversation together. We talk about a wide variety of different topics, from life in the English countryside, because we don't actually live too far from each other in England. We talk about our love of music, and particularly with Katharine, we talk about her past career in music, which was really interesting. But we also discuss that positivity and how being positive can not only help us in life, but particularly when learning the English language. So you will definitely enjoy this conversation today. And I know that many of you listen to these podcasts whilst doing different things, perhaps commuting to work, doing the cooking, doing the ironing. So wherever you are or whatever you are doing, enjoy my chat with Katharine. So hello, Katharine. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Oh, that is my pleasure. I think that's what people say. Yeah, my pleasure. I love to be here. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh no, honestly, it's absolutely my pleasure to have you on the podcast. I've been following you for a while now, particularly with your YouTube channel, and I really, wanted to have you on as a guest. So I'm so pleased we managed to work this out.
No, it's great. I'm happy to be here.
How's your day been?
Yeah, it's been okay. I've taught a few lessons, went for a walk, and planned some YouTube videos, of course.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's quite a varied day.
Yeah, I like to sort of mix it up a bit because when you're doing YouTube, you have to sort of like fit it in somewhere. But yeah, I teach and then I do YouTube, teach and then YouTube, like that. So
Okay. Yeah. So just juggling the two things, just kind of pretty much every day.
Yeah, juggling. It's a bit of juggling, actually. Yeah. But it's
What
good.
was the weather like for your walk? How was it today?
So I don't know if you noticed, but it hailed earlier.
It did.
Did you notice that?
It was really
It's
heavy.
like, this is the UK, isn't it?
Yep. You
It
can
was
never
like a
win.
hail session, and then no, you can't. And they do say April showers and all that. So I have to remind myself this is still April. But yeah, I can't wait for. I love the spring. I'm already dressing like it's the spring, obviously, but I just love it. Do you love that season?
It's probably my favorite. I'm so ready for it because I don't know
Yeah.
what it was like in a moment. Actually, whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like I live in a kind of wooden sort of animal house in the countryside.
Yeah.
We're about 30 minutes from London. So we're in the countryside technically, but we're actually pretty near London. So we've got the best of both worlds, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I'm about 25 minutes, I guess, the other way from London.
Yeah. Are you east of London?
Yes. Yeah. Huh,
Yes.
how fun is that?
Yes.
So around
That is
the,
such a coincidence. Yeah.
but
Do you
yeah,
like being like close to London? Do you love that, or are you like
I
no, I like it?
I love visiting London. Like I
Yeah.
love going to London for a day because I can get the train in 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
I also love being able to leave London.
Yeah, it's
I
the
don't know.
leaving as much as going, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you go often?
Yeah.
Do you visit London often?
I should go more. I love the idea of going to see plays and going to the
Oh, me too.
theatre, like all that culture. And then I just forget to buy the tickets and realize that it's too late. And then, so I would like to go more than I do. But yes, I do go every couple of months, I would say. Yeah,
Oh,
for a
okay.
day. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you?
Not as much as I should. I'm the same as you, actually. I love the theatre. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I think Les Mis is probably my favorite show.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
haven't seen it.
oh, it's
So,
amazing.
obviously need to go to London more.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
yeah.
But yeah, the reason I asked is because Saturday, I don't know if it's the same temperature where you were, but it was beautiful here. We
Yeah,
had it was like summer, and I thought, oh, it's here. It's finally here. And then Sunday quickly made me realize that nope, it was a lie. You're in England.
my mum was like, "Oh, it's summer. I'm so
Yeah.
glad it's arrived. I hope it doesn't go backwards again." And she was just like sort of just saying that. And then Sunday, I was like, "Mum, it is going backwards."
Exactly. Yeah. We were my whole family, we were out in the garden having a barbecue,
Yeah.
gin and tonics. And we were like, oh, it's here. It's finally here. Just, I don't know why we do it to ourselves as British people.
It's just that hope, isn't it? Like, this is it. It's arrived. It's finally here.
We've
Yeah.
cracked
The
it.
whole barbecue thing is so classic, isn't it? It's the minute the sun comes up for an hour, it's like flip-flops, t-shirts, barbecue.
Yeah. Well, we went for a little walk and there was, guys without their t-shirts on. There was just the usual quintessential British summer kind of in April.
Yeah, we saw the same thing. We went for a walk and saw the same scenes.
Yeah,
so
always happens. So you went for a walk in the countryside. Do you live near the countryside then?
Yeah, so I am in the countryside. When I look out the window, there are no neighbours. No, just sheep and pheasants and chickens wandering around. So yeah, it's great. It's lovely. It's really relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that about it. So
I do think that the English countryside, I mean, there's some beautiful places in the world, but in my opinion, in good weather, say springtime, you can't beat the English countryside.
You can't, can you? Yeah, I lived in Spain for a brief stint, about 6 months, and I remember just missing the greenness, and just the lush fields. Definitely agree with you. And it's Lord of the Rings type vibes, isn't it? It's that thing. So I love
mystical.
it. Yeah. It gets your imagination going as well. And, it's just a very relaxing place to be.
Yeah. Because of course you said, you teach English, which it's a very rewarding job, but also it's a very tiring job in many different ways. Do you find that kind of living in the countryside allows you to kind of just separate your mind from it a little bit?
Actually, yes. I would say having access to the countryside outside your door is a good thing, because you can go for a walk so easily and you don't have to drive somewhere and then walk. It's just such an immediate relief. So I have to do that. I literally have to. So I work really hard and then I just go outside and just walk for like an hour. And I just listen to music, and it's just really helpful. Definitely.
Yeah. I was actually talking to someone about this. I can't remember who I was talking to. We were talking about, just trying to get out more. You're just going for a walk with no technology, no phones, no social media, particularly if you do live in the countryside, and just kind of just enjoying that time with nature.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Just listening to things, listening to the birds and smelling the air, using all your senses, the way that you don't normally use them, or be aware of using them, of course, is so relaxing, and then you come back and you're like, God, that was good. Why don't I do that more often? And then you just don't do it for another 3 weeks or something. It's a habit. So if you just force yourself to do it, it really, really affects the way you feel. So
I couldn't agree more.
Recommend it.
Yeah, we go for a walk probably every 8 months in the countryside, and we always say, we should do this more. Yeah, we should do this more often. And then another 8 months go past and we think we didn't do it again.
I would say it's a discipline, and even though you're enjoying it, it's still a discipline, because and also habits accumulate over time to have a good result, good habits. So you'll notice your mind just feels better. So ever since I moved here, it's been a year now, I feel better for it. So definitely just do it every day. Go out.
I will. I'm going to do it. You've inspired me to do it every day. Great. And I guess as well, it must be one of the beautiful things about living in the countryside is seeing it change throughout the seasons.
Definitely. Yes. Wow. Even to the detail of like the plants. So my mum will be like, catkins are here. she's a florist, so she knows about flowers. And catkins is the early signs of spring, and then you kind of have all the different developments like magnolia, then cherry blossom, bluebells. And it's just lovely. Honestly, it is very lovely.
Yeah, I've never heard that, a catkin. I'm the most kind of furthest away from floristry and plants. I appreciate it, but I know nothing.
To be honest,
Yeah.
neither do I really.
Okay. Oh,
But
so I was going to ask you about a catkin, but
please. No, I mean, all I can say is they're like these sort of furry, weird things that hang on trees. They're not that beautiful, but more that they're a sign of hope. You know, you see that and you think spring is coming. Thank goodness for the catkins.
Yeah, and the sound of lawnmowers going
Yes.
across all of England.
Yes, and the smell of the cut grass.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, I
So
really love it.
it's like the sounds, the smells, it's all of it, isn't it? It's like
It's
the
so
house.
visceral. Yeah, it's all part
It's
of it.
so
Yeah.
visceral.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I'm gonna go for a walk after this now. So, of course, you're teaching, extremely busy with your YouTube channel, which really hats off to you. You've done amazingly well with that. So what do you do to take your mind off everything? Of course, because that all of those things are very intense, aren't they? It's a lot of effort.
You're right. It is intense. I mean, you said congratulations, and I'm like, thank you, but it is quite full on.
Yeah.
I'm a musician, so I love music, and I play the piano and I sing. And honestly, that is what I'm doing when I'm not teaching or planning videos. I'm playing the piano. So
Okay.
that is the answer to that. I'm
Wow.
always playing piano. I have a piano like here somewhere. You can see it there.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I'm just over there really.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I love music as well. So I want to kind of dive into your musical world. When did you start with piano, with singing? How did it all begin?
It sounds like really weird, but I've actually always kind of played the piano. So my mum had a piano when she was younger, as in my mum put a piano in our house when I was younger, and I just sort of started picking out little tunes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've just always kind of been musical, and it's always been in my life. But what I want to know about you as well with that. Like, are you actually musical yourself, or do you just appreciate music, or are you a player of some
No.
kind?
Yeah, music's probably I'm the same as you. Probably the biggest thing in my life. I love teaching. I love this side of it, but music is always has been. It's kind of been in my family. I'm a drummer myself.
Brilliant.
Love playing the drums. So yeah, it's a bit of an escape. For me, I think it's probably the same for you. But music is my kind of just that venting. It's just the escape from normality. Everything else.
It is an escape without even realizing it. You do just escape when you're doing it, don't you? Because you're in another world. Because your mind's, I don't know what my mind's doing. It's doing something, but it's somewhere else, and it's just like, oh, this is so great.
Exactly. Yeah. So you were playing the piano. How did that progress to singing as well? Was it something you just thought, oh, I'm gonna try singing one day, and then you realized, oh, that's pretty good? Or
yeah, I remember just sort of making up songs and then singing a bit to them, and then it became a thing that I was then singing and playing. So that was quite cool. And then I performed my own songs, for years in London. So I've been doing it. I only just stopped really doing it properly really since the pandemic actually. I kind of just everything shut down, didn't it? And then I started my YouTube channel and Instagram. So it's still very much in my life, but not really like professionally so much anymore. Which is kind of good in some ways, because I didn't really like the industry that much. I found it didn't really suit me. The business side of things. But yeah, that is it really.
I'm fascinated. So actually, the music wasn't just a hobby for you, kind of
No.
pre-COVID. It literally was your profession, or
yeah. Well, I used to play gigs or concerts in London and Brighton, and I was sometimes in a band, I was sometimes solo, and they would be paid gigs. And so I was doing it every week without fail at one point. It was my life, and I kind of had this little record contract thing going on, which was quite exciting, but I found that it was quite demanding. And again, I wanted to just write songs on my agenda, but they were like, you have to write 7 songs by tomorrow. So that wasn't quite so good. So that's the negative side, but I always loved performing. I miss that so much, and I want to do it again soon. So probably will soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's so actually it wasn't, because often when I think of people doing gigs and that, they say I've done gigs, it's, in a pub playing covers, Oasis, all of that, the
Yeah.
normal kind of, but for you,
The
actually,
normal.
this was writing and recording your own
Yes.
music.
Yes. And there's still some on Spotify, but I don't want to tell you what name it is.
I will find it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's there somewhere, because the thing is, I left the label and then I changed my stage name to get
Okay.
away from it, to just sort
Yeah.
of start again. But yeah, there's some music up there. But
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely like who I am, really. Like, I would say my
Mm.
identity is related to that.
Mm.
You know.
And what style of music were you playing at that time?
So very difficult to explain, but pop, I would say it's like jazz, pop, folk. So it's got a lot of influence from 70s music, like Pink Floyd, and I love all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm an old soul, really, like, with my music taste. So I listen
I'm
to a
with
lot
you
of
on that.
yeah, the good stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I love harmonizing. I love like vocal harmonies. So it's all like, really, if I had my way and I made my dream album, it would be like 5-part harmonies, and
Okay.
it
Wow.
would be all like, yeah.
Wow.
So
I'm always intrigued. Sorry, I interrupted you there, but I'm always intrigued by when people are like, as you say, kind of have that old soul with music, with jazz, with Pink Floyd. And was that
yeah,
was that because you were raised on that style of music, or was it just you stumbled across it?
I think it is I was raised. Yeah, my
Yeah,
dad loved all that. I don't know if that's the
the
reason for
same.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think when you have a nice childhood and you associate the nice times with the good music,
Yeah.
the music is part of it. And when I think of Supertramp and Genesis, it's
Yeah.
usually car journeys where my dad's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is so good. And then they were my first CDs. I'm the CD generation.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I just loved it, so I've always just listened to it. But I do listen to some new music. I do like electronic. I love electronic music,
Okay.
actually. Some stuff like that, but I do come back to what I love usually.
Yeah. Come back to the roots. Can you
Yeah.
remember? This first CD you ever bought. Now, I guess it's a bit of honesty. My one is
Yeah.
really embarrassing. I'm going to wait to see what your answer is first.
Mine's arguably not embarrassing. Anyway, it's the Spice Girls, because
Oh no,
they were so great, and I think I actually was given that. I don't know, what did I buy? It might have been Coldplay's
Oh,
first
okay.
album. What about you? I'm intrigued to know what yours is.
It's really, so actually, I think the first, it was, when you used to get singles CDs and then it would have like, I don't know, like a couple
Singles.
of B-sides on it. My
Yeah.
first one, now I don't know if anyone's actually going to know this, was Hanson Umbop.
They were great.
They
Handsome.
were.
They were so good.
I was obsessed with it.
It was such a great track.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and then they had another absolute blinding song after that. They had two really good songs. I can't remember the second one, but they were great. I don't know what happened to them.
No, they're three brothers, I think, weren't they? Were they brothers?
Three brothers, all look the same, all long blonde hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That is old school. Yeah.
Okay, you made me feel better about that. I never like telling anyone because it's the most uncool.
No, very cool. It's extremely cool, in fact.
Yeah. Hopefully people in the comments know, people watching or listening to this might know that song. If not, you should check it out. Maybe we can bring back just a bit of Hanson love.
Definitely check out Hanson. They're timeless. That song is timeless. Yeah,
really are. Well, so also, I mean, we'll just go down musical train because I love it. So you like a bit of jazz, is that right? Or
I mean, I say that I can't really name. I have influence from certain jazzy stuff.
Yeah.
Like Tori Amos. She's great. She's kind of jazzy, but she's not jazz per se.
Yeah.
It's like, with music, you get a lot of influences from all over the place. And sometimes you're like, where did I get that from?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's that one song I listened to that I really liked. So yeah, jazz is very relaxing to listen to, though, on a Friday night. I do like that.
Yeah. When you kind of finished your week's work, you can chuck some jazz on and just chill out.
Jazz. Yeah, it's usually just does the trick, doesn't it? Cooking to jazz, that's also great. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny, earlier you mentioned about, driving around in your dad's car, listening to certain songs and tunes. And I can really resonate with that because I remember driving around with my dad in the kind of English countryside. We grew up kind of in a little English cottage next door, pretty much next door to a pub.
Did you?
And I remember driving around the country lanes, listening to T-Rex, Queen,
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and it
Oh,
just, yeah, it's just such a, I don't know, it's a real part of your life, isn't it? Your parents' music is such a big part of your life.
I think because they like it, they kind
Yeah.
of infuse. It's like when, you know, when anyone shows you something and they're really excited about it,
Yeah.
you're kind of, you like their passion, or you like that they like it. And that's
Mhm.
why it's so great to share music, isn't it? And a lot of the music I listen to is recommended by my best friend and the people I met at university. And, you
Yeah.
know, that's the great thing about music. So,
It is.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just such a, yeah, it connects everybody together in
Yeah.
one way or another, different nationalities, cultures, music's
Yeah.
that kind of connecting factor.
Definitely.
Wow.
Glue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wow.
love it so much.
So professional musician recording, then COVID hit. And I think that's where, so many that I've spoke to kind of started their YouTube, Instagram journey.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. It just
how did that
seems like the
start?
right. Yeah, so I put up, and I just started an Instagram page to start with, and I just put up pictures of nature, actually, because
Oh, okay.
my
Yeah.
mum and dad live in a bit like what you've just said, a really cute cottage and
Right.
near a pub, and I just was posting, and then I started doing English tips, and it just went from there. It was an
Wow.
Instagram page first. So yeah, I don't know about you. Did you start your Instagram page just out on a whim, like out of the blue, or
It
like
really
did you
was.
just go for it? Yeah.
Yeah. It was exactly the same as you, actually. COVID hit. And I just lost my job teaching. And I thought,
Hmm.
I'm not
Many
working
of
for
my
anyone
friends.
else. Yeah.
Mm,
And I thought, I don't want to work for anyone else anymore. So I just started an Instagram page. And as much as it took a lot of work, I do count myself very lucky with my timing, because I
yeah.
think it was at a time when everyone was kind of thinking, I'm at home, I'll learn on social media.
Yeah.
So
So you didn't teach English. So did you teach English before the pandemic then, or did
yes,
you? Yeah. So
yeah,
did I. I
yeah,
haven't really, just to be clear, because it sounds like I was just purely a professional musician. No,
right.
the reason, the way I got into teaching English is because I really loved how flexible it was
Mhm.
alongside music. So I was, performing, but then also had this really easy way of making a living,
Mm.
a bit in the day. And I work in language schools in London, which was really, really,
Wow.
really great. So yeah, it was definitely like alongside the music, and I started noticing how much I enjoyed it. I loved the one-on-one more than the groups. I would say I liked the groups, but
Mm.
I loved really, really helping someone really, really like personalized stuff. So that's why yeah, that's how it became part of my life, because it went so well
Wow.
with music.
Yeah. So it kind of, actually, it was a natural thing just to support the music kind of while it
Yeah.
happened. And
At
then,
first, it was just a really good idea, yeah,
yeah.
to go with it. And a lot of my
Wow.
musician friends were doing the same. And it's
Oh,
actually why I got into it. My bass player at the time, bassist, she had a T-Sol certificate, and she was working, and she went to
right.
Thailand and all over the world. And I was like, that sounds perfect. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
Because I have no idea. I've never known what to do as a job. Like, I've always been that confused person. Like, what is there for me? I like
Exactly.
helping people, and I was going to go into the medical world because my mum comes from like nursing and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Then I was like, no, I don't really like blood. That's a problem.
Can't do it.
So
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that's actually the proper story to like to the teaching thing, because I think it
Oh,
sounded like I just started when it was the pandemic, and that's not the case. I actually went online when the pandemic came. That was when the
wow.
online stuff started. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was it that kind of made you think, I'm going to do this? I'm going to start. Did Instagram? So you said Instagram came
Yeah,
first.
it
So,
was other people on Instagram. It was others, and this is
okay.
why human beings are so great, because
Yeah.
it's tried and tested. If she can do it, I can do it, or if
Yeah.
he's done it, I could do that. And it just makes you think, cool. I've got this. I think I can do what she's doing. Yeah, let's just give it a shot. Yeah, and I was doing it anyway. I was teaching in London, so I was just kind of putting that onto an online platform,
Mhm.
and it just seemed like a really obvious thing, really,
Yeah.
to do. I was stuck at home and wanted to do something.
Wow.
So yeah,
So you
probably.
started with YouTube, your YouTube lessons at that point? Or
Yeah, so then I did some one-to-one classes as well. So
yeah,
that's when all that started. I was like, this is great. One-to-one
yeah,
classes online. This is the future. This is so amazing. So I was doing my one-to-one classes, and then it was still a couple of years till I started the YouTube channel though, because I only started
right.
that last year. I've been doing it a year, I think, a year
Wow.
and 4 months. No, yeah, a year and 4 months. Yeah, not
You've
that
done
long.
incredibly well then. Wow.
Well,
Well, good for
no,
you.
not really. I
Yeah.
mean, it's unpredictable. You know, one day you
It's
could be
true.
doing well. You never know. But yes,
Yeah.
it is going well at this point. Yeah, it is.
Well,
It's
good
very
for
fun.
you. Yeah. Well,
Thank
there's
you.
a reason that it's going well, because of course, looking through a few of your videos, one thing that I particularly like, and actually, a few of my students have said, "Oh, I watch your particular YouTube videos," and they've said, how much they like the positivity that comes across through your videos, and even talking with you now, I can see that a positive person. Was that like an intentional aim to come across in such a positive way, or is it just who you are?
There is no escaping it. It's a blessing and a burden. No,
Yeah,
it's a great way to be, I think, personally.
definitely.
I recommend it, but it's just my default setting, really. My mum
Okay.
is exactly the same as me. My
Mm.
dad is much more like everything is terrible, but
Yeah.
my mum is like everything is wonderful, and
Yeah.
we're just like the same. So I do teach like that because I think also half of the secret to learning things is just kind of believing. It sounds so cliched, but like confidence and believing that
Yeah.
it can be possible. Because some of the worst teachers I had at school were the ones that were basically saying to us, "Don't, you're all just, don't bother really,"
Yeah.
or they have a sort of way of sort of imparting the information that wasn't very like, "You can do it." It was
Exactly.
more just, "This is it,"
Yeah.
this is the tone. So yeah, it's slightly intentional, I guess, because I it's my style, but it's
Mm.
also just me, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that comes across as well. I think you can tell when positivity isn't genuine or it's not authentic. You know,
Yeah, I
you
guess you can.
you
Yeah.
can tell.
Yeah.
But with you can tell this is just who you are. And I guess
Yeah.
as well that kind of, it was interesting what you said earlier. That actually, even if somebody's talking to you about something that you're not interested in, if they are positive about it, they love
Yeah.
it. You find yourself going, yeah, yeah, I love this
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They could be
Stamp
talking about
collecting. Why
stamps.
not? Yeah, I just said the
Yeah,
same example as you.
yeah,
Stamps, of course. It's like they love it so much. I mean, there might be something in it. Maybe I'll go to a stamp convention.
yeah,
That's the power of someone just being so pleased. I like happy people. I
yeah,
like passionate people. So it doesn't matter what it's about, within reason.
mm,
I will be, into it.
yeah.
You know, yeah,
And I guess as well, that's what that translates into teaching, isn't it? Because
yeah,
with teaching, it is the kind of the job where you have to adapt to people and their
yeah,
interests and their
yeah,
likes. So I guess that
yeah.
does translate over to teaching.
Yeah, it does. It's quite neutral though, I think, because most people will probably respond quite well to that. It's kind of just encouraging, really,
Yeah.
generally, just encouraging the person instead of just keeping them stupid or keeping them at the same level. I feel
Mm.
like I don't want to say some teachers do that, but maybe they don't want, subconsciously they don't want the student to improve, or there's something
Yeah.
in there that stop it. They want to stay the teacher.
Mm.
Whereas I try and not even be like a teacher. I take away the teacher thing and be like, I'm just like you, but I just so happen to know this thing that you don't, and I'll just tell you about it now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
that really.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. So yeah, I mean, YouTube, of course, is doing well at the moment. You're really growing with that. Did you ever see it getting to this point? Of course, a year and a half ago when you first started,
No,
was it your goal to
no.
make it this, or did you just think, I'll just see what happens?
Mm, well, I was thinking it would be so cool to be like some of the big cats that
Yeah.
are like, they've got the millions of subscribers, and of course that is something I was like, oh come on, we can do
Yeah.
it. But I never realized how it worked. I didn't really understand YouTube.
Mm.
I still don't actually. It's very confusing.
No one
It's a
does.
wonderful thing. Yeah, no one does. That's the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a gamble because you put yourself out there and you just
Yeah.
wait and you're like, right, okay, oh, it seems to be going well. Oh, lots of people saying things, and yeah, it was just a, yeah, I don't know. It just sort of was a surprise, really. But I do feel like you're only as good as the last video you make. I feel like that. I'm quite hard on myself. So
Oh, that's interesting.
I think keeping the standard high is the challenge, because you just want to put out good stuff. I think that's the main thing I'm focusing on. Because sometimes you put out a video and you realize it's not what people wanted, and maybe it's self-indulgent. You think, oh, I want to make that video because I would enjoy it, but you think, oh, do my subscribers want that? What do my subscribers really want? You've got to feed the fish, every Friday. So so that's the answer. It's just been lovely and really positive and happy, but I've just been aware that you've got to put out good stuff. So
that, and I guess, I mean, I'm kind of new to the YouTube game. I'm not, but I guess as well, it's kind of the videos that, or the lessons that you think are going to do really well. I've got this one, and then they don't.
And then they don't. Yeah.
It's the way you perceive that. It's not a negative thing. It's just okay, I need to change my angle.
I definitely did. There was a period, it was November, where we had a period of 3 or 4 videos which didn't do as well. And it was like, why? I was like, why don't they like them? And it was just because it didn't go with the majority. You kind of got to feed the majority of the fish, not just 20% of them, which is sad, because sometimes that 20% are like my buddies that I feel like I could go to the pub with, because they're the ones that I really would probably, bond with the most. But, not saying the rest of them aren't great, but that's the point. But yours is great as well. Like you're just doing your thing as well. So it's just a matter of, it's how long have you been doing yours for? Tell me about your YouTube.
So YouTube, probably about 6 months, I think. I used to put my Instagram videos on there, but probably about 6 months. Just because I thought I'd give it a go as well.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm still at the point where I think, is it worth the effort? I love, now these podcasts and these interviews, I love. Absolutely love it. Yes. So, you're at that stage, you think, should I keep going? But then I get one video, and every now and then I'll get an email or a message from someone saying like, Gid, I really appreciate the work you're doing. Yeah. And that to me, really I think, all right, okay, then I'll keep doing it.
If you can make sure it's not too labor intensive for you, keep the videos quite, standard, then you can probably sustain it and keep going, and not for it not to affect you. Yeah.
I like that. It's got to be worth the time, hasn't it? So of course, your positivity and that work ethic, and kind of sticking with it. And do you think that translates to somebody that is learning English? That idea of just trying to keep that positive mindset over the long term. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all about that. If you and also always remind yourself why you're doing something. Like with anything difficult, I think the main thing to keep saying to yourself, why is it? Because that's a real motivator, because we often forget why, we're just plowing away, plugging away, doing this difficult thing. But for learning English, don't look at it as this big mountain to climb. Try and look at it as the steps up the mountain. I know there's a really famous quote and I can't think of it right now, but it's about breaking it down into steps. So that positivity kind of goes with that, I think, of just not letting it make you negative and get down by it and, overwhelmed.
And I like what you said there. And I'm kind of, I take the same approach, particularly with new students. What's your reason for learning? What are you doing this for? Now, that doesn't have to be a groundbreaking reason, like, it's because I want to save the world. No. But it's because I want to travel. It's because I want to communicate with my mate, or I don't know, whatever it is. But have your reason, or find a reason.
Yeah. And then just always remind yourself of it, or write it on the wall, or not on the wall, but on a piece of paper, and just be like, this is it. This is why I'm doing it. This is going to be great if I do this, because I'm going to get this. I'm going to be able to talk to my friend in that language, or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I like that idea. Remind yourself of the reason. I think sometimes the reason changes. I was trying to learn Spanish, as many of my watchers know. Was that me? That was my battery going.
I think it was me. It just came up. Sorry.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. It'll wake everybody up.
Yeah. Well, you can just edit it out.
Yeah, it will do that. But it's an interesting thing, you know, because I think, like I said, I was learning Spanish. I wasn't good at it, and I didn't learn Spanish, but your reason's always changing, I found, you know, kind of, and trying
Yeah.
to adjust to your reason as to why you're learning a language.
Yeah. And also the reason has to be strong enough. Like if
Yeah.
your brain can somehow persuade you that it's not that strong, then you're probably not going to take it seriously. Like for me, Spanish, it wasn't, the necessity wasn't enough. And I'm quite a procrastinator. I
Yeah.
need like a really strong reason to do something. I'm quite difficult as a person, really. I try to motivate, and this is why positivity really works for me. You know, this is something that really works. But yeah, I have to really know why I'm doing it. And when I was more living in Spain, that was the real reason. But then when I came back, I was like, well, I don't really have to anymore. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I loved it though. I loved the Spanish language, so I will go back to it. But
Brilliant.
yeah, it's really about having the reason strong enough to do something, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think as well, sometimes there is so much information out there, even if we think on YouTube, you Google how to learn Spanish, how to learn English, that sometimes, I know I've done it, I look and I think, well, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't know which YouTuber should I watch, which lessons should I take, what should I learn? And I think that can often be a stumbling block to learning a language.
Yeah, it actually ends up having the opposite effect, and you end up just doing none of it. You end up doing nothing because you're like, I don't even know what the next step is. There's too many steps. What is this?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I'm
So
sure it's like that for some English learners too, but yeah,
definitely.
hopefully.
Yeah. What would you say, like, if just, you know, I always try and give someone to give a bit of a pearl of wisdom or advice. If someone said, you know, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, kind of what would you say? You know, what advice would you give to students?
First of all, just stop for a
Yeah,
second
I like
and
that.
stop looking at every single source on YouTube and all these different things, and just choose a path.
Yeah.
And that could be choosing 2 YouTubers that you really like, or that really talk to you and connect with you. But basically make your choice and commit to it. I think we live in a world now when people are afraid to commit to things because there's so many things they could be doing instead, right?
Yeah.
And you get it with dating, you get it with everything. People are non-committal. So I know that sounds a bit patronizing, but it's a result of just having too much information, too much choice. So all you have to do is commit to your choice, whatever that is, and then map out your path and just write it down, or work it out in stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to your goal, and then begin. But try to just not be influenced by the other choices or the other paths and the other ways. I think that's probably the best thing, in my opinion.
I think that's brilliant advice. I really do. You know, just choose something and just stick with that and forget everything else for a while.
Consistency.
Just enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what actually I've told myself. So with the YouTube thing, Tom, my partner, my fiance now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It's only in February, so still
really?
thinking, yeah.
Oh, well, very much congratulations. That's lovely.
Thank you. But yeah, he said to me, Katharine, so when we first started, I was like, oh, we'll just do a YouTube video, every so often. And he was like, Katharine, we have to do it every Friday. We have to commit to that. We're going to do it every week. And I was like, what? Why every week? Like, that's so much. Like, and I suddenly realized that to be successful, you have to be consistent.
Yes.
And that's something I am not good at. I'm much more like that in life, like a roller coaster. But you have to just, do something for a long time.
Yeah. And just stick with it.
I mean?
Yeah, I do. I completely know what you mean.
And if if 2 years go by, or a year, and you feel like nothing's happened, well, fair enough. That's obviously not working. But if you see growth, you just think, well, great, I'm glad I did stick to it.
Yeah. And it's some days are good, some days are bad, some weeks are good, some weeks are bad, but that's okay.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with the bad, because we also live in a world now where we're very like, oh, it's bad, oh, poor me, oh, I'll stop, self-care and all that. It's not always useful. You've got to do the hard stuff in life, but it helps when you know the path. That's what I'm saying. If you know where you're going, it helps to do the bad stuff. If you're just blindly doing something in the moment and you don't know what the next step, that's the worst thing ever.
Completely.
So that's what I think.
choose something and stick with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. Wow. Now, yeah, absolutely brilliant advice. Now, there's one thing I'd like to ask you. It's not related, and we're going to go back to music just before. I don't want to take up too much of your time,
Yay.
because I can talk about music for hours. But do you have a favorite album of all time? Now, I think that's a really unfair question to ask because I don't think I can answer it. But do you have a favorite album?
Did you know that British culture is all about favorites? Like, we love favorites.
It's true.
What's your favorite color? What's your favorite animal? And it's true. I'm always asking that. And yes, I do have a favorite animal.
Okay.
Album. Animal. Album. It would be Dark Side of the Moon.
Wow.
By Pink Floyd. Yeah.
Okay.
Which maybe some listeners are going to be like, who the hell is that? Because it's from 70s, but it's a timeless, great album. I mean, it's amazing.
Wow. So do you remember the first time you kind of listened to that? Because that album it tells a story, doesn't it? It's not just individual songs.
Yeah. I think that's why I like it, because it's a journey.
Yeah.
You put it on. I hate that, but yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's so journeyed on. I mean, I don't even know what the names of each tracks are. That's it. I mean, I could probably tell you if I really thought about it, but you put it on and you just lose yourself for like, you just go into this world. Yeah. And that's what music is. I don't want music to end, as in, when the song ends, I'm like, oh, it's finished. Yeah. I just love that album because it just progresses.
Exactly. And that to me was kind of the generation of making masterpieces. It wasn't just individual tracks. Let's put them on an album and sell it.
Yeah.
That was all planned out. It was an absolute masterpiece of an album.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And it was like you said, it wasn't just radio friendly 3-minute songs on an album. It was just progressive or something. There's a word for it, but it's that.
I don't know. Awesome.
Awesome. What about you? What's your favorite album of all time?
Because I'm so used to asking these questions, but I realize they really do put people on the spot. So I got so many. Probably the one that got me into drumming was Led Zeppelin 2.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, probably any I can't remember if it's on that album, but there's a Led Zeppelin song called Moby Dick.
I listened to it the other day, actually.
Yes.
The first time. Yeah.
And it has this really amazing drum solo in it. And I listened to it. I must have been maybe 13 at the time. I can't remember who I was with listening to it. And I heard the drum solo. I just thought, I want to do that. I was playing saxophone at the time. And then I thought, I want to be a drummer. So I instantly stopped the saxophone, which I do regret. And then
through another window.
I look like such a nerd going into school with my brown leather case with a saxophone in it. And I thought, oh, drum's cool. I'll do that. But yeah, so after that song, that was it. And then I was just hooked on drums. Yeah.
I mean, drums are just, I actually really want to learn the drums.
You should.
My next instrument, definitely. It's the only instrument where I'm like, I really would like to learn those. I mean, the guitar is great and everything, but I love the rhythm side of it, and just being able to coordinate your hands like that is so exciting. So
it's very expressive. It's like a lot of people, when they think of drums, they just think of bashing around like as hard as they can. But actually, it depends. If you can just chill and just play some soft blues and just get into it, or if you want to rock out, that's it.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I love it.
Or if you want to rock out, which is also incredibly great.
You certainly can. After a long day, there's probably nothing better.
That's what appeals to me about the countryside, because you don't have neighbours, because in London you just can't really learn the drums. It's just not the same.
Great. It's created a few problems, but Katharine, it was honestly, genuinely an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You too. It's been lovely. It's been so nice. Thank you.
I wish you all the best, continue with your YouTube and teaching and things like that. I'm sure you'll progress into
you too. Absolutely. You too. Yeah, it's a journey that we're both on with this. So yeah.
I never know, maybe we'll have another chat another time.
Definitely
all right. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.